Thanks for staying tuned. Of course, it's still Tuesday morning, and this is Rise and Shine. We have the privilege of having a conversation this morning, still looking at the issues with regards the state of the nations, this whole Binance issue, and the federal government from the standpoint of a very astute, person this morning joining us. Speaking of Dr. Frank Etem, we'll be looking through his eyes into the state of the nations with regards to the allegations leveled by the federal government against Binance. Good morning, Dr. Frank. Good to have you on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
joining
for
us.
having me.
So I think we've already run a backgrounder to the story because we've talked about it. A few weeks ago, the federal government accused Binance of being responsible for the free fall of the Naira. But personally, I think it is a very, very, I can't remember the English word I used this morning.
Vague
but
allegation.
Very vague allegation. But now again, just yesterday, we got news of the fact that one of the detainees of Binance has actually escaped from the detention of the federal government. Where does this position us as a people in the face of the international community, of course?
Thanks for having me this morning. It's very, very disheartening for that to have happened. First and foremost, it speaks to the leadership of the country. Number one, it speaks to the leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Number two, who went to the Binance? So we need to bring back the former vice president and Buhari to speak to the issue. Who took our money to go and invest in a scheme? I think it's a Ponzi scheme. A scheme I consider what we call in Nigeria kalo kalo. Try your luck. You cannot take a nation's resources and get to play that kind of cha-cha. When I was a little boy, it used to be called cha-cha. There's something you throw and there you pick this, you win. You pick this, you lose. That's what it is. And I recall that former Vice President, Professor Osibanjo, spoke very glowing on this Binance or whatever it is called. So for me, in the first place, if the government is serious, bring them back. What were the variables you considered in going to invest our hard-earned resources there? In a scheme that is on the network, in a scheme like that hasn't had no building to say this is the headquarters, this is the office, these are the staff, this is all about it. Mr. President, Osibanjo must come first to explain to us the factors that led this country to go investing in that kind of platform. That's number one. Or number two, if we found that to have been a deceit and we went after the owners of the scheme, of the platform, and you got them arrested, not within, and then you put them under the custody of the most, one of the strongest security outfit, the DSS, I suppose. Well, that's what they are called. That used to be called NSA when I was much younger. And somebody is supposed to be, even if it's in this studio, I say, hold this guy. And you know where the doors are. And you put something to the door and put somebody to sit there. How be it? You see a spirit. The person had flown out of the premises. Gotten out of, this is Ibiako Run, I suppose. And got into Uyo and boarded a vehicle and got out of, come on. We are not jokers. How could that be? Now, there must be an inside collaborator, conspirator, who said, come on, I open the gate or door for you, come go. So just turn back and look at it. So the whole thing is that who took us there? In the first place, I mentioned Obasanjo, or what's his name, Osibanjo and Buhari. And the man who they invested the money on, and how that man escaped, all are intertwined. So if the government is serious, you can get all the people to sit together. First, how did you get out of the place? I placed them under the man under your custody, the presenter of the program.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden it's gone. So I first have to put this behind bars differently to speak to the issue, and then we'll go on to other things. So that's just what it is.
Okay, Doctor, this morning, some of the things we have looked at in the minds of Nigerians. Let's look at the fact that these platform executives were accused of, terrorism financing actually happened. But just before we get to the terrorism financing, the office of the National Security Advisor is a very big office as far as the security of not just the president but the generality of Nigerians is concerned. What would this mean for our collective security if a matter of this magnitude has been treated with a level of ineptitude and unprofessionalism and incompetence such as the one we're
There
seeing?
are two things to it. One, that office, the occupier, Ribadu, has to be checked again, whether he's really competent to run that office. And I'm not missing any words about that. Number two, it means I and you, we are all vulnerable. We are all vulnerable. Then to the other residual issue you raise, financing terrorism. Who's serious about that? We were in this country when United Arab Emirates sent names to us and sent people that these are the people we found back there that are sending money and financing terror. What did you do? What did we do? We did nothing. You simply speak to the very issue I raised, leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership.
So,
It means all of us are vulnerable. I'm carrying this for my own. I put it in my car. I said, your driver came and put it. This is my pepper gun. This is my pepper gun.
Wow.
This is my pepper gun. I carry it around.
okay, now that's the first time I'm seeing.
We are all vulnerable.
Because it has actually gotten to a place where Nigerians need to be more
We
proactive.
are
of
all
their own
vulnerable.
security.
This is my pepper gun. This is my pepper gun. I put it in my car and I drive around with it. I'm coming here. I know I'm going to pass the road, so I took it along and I carried it. At least there must be first line
resistance before any other thing. Okay.
Well, you made mention of how the previous government should be called back to come and answer questions. And this also draws us back because we are talking about terrorism financing now. I remember under the President Muhammad Buhari's regime, it was said that they have the list of those who are financing terrorism in Nigeria. And for some reasons, we were hoping that those names will come out on the papers or maybe for some reasons read out to us. Till today, nobody has said anything about that. But for some reasons, I also feel like this current government does not want to probe the past government of President Muhammad Buhari because there's a lot to probe when you take a look at that administration. Even the Naira redesign, where we heard that the signature of the former president was forged. Till today, he was not called to answer those questions. Don't you see like this is a situation whereby the current administration just wants to focus on solving Nigeria issues and maybe it's bringing a lot of disparities and we have a lot of unanswered questions?
First and foremost, are they different? They are all of the same political party. The same political party, right?
Yes.
So you presume, rightly or wrongly, that they should share the same philosophy. They should share the same program and many other things together. They say birds of the same feather flock together. Is that not the common saying we have? So that answers to the question. Then that takes me to issue that I've been saying all the time. That we need to, for us to rectify things in this country, we need to unbundle INEC and ensure that proper political parties are formed in the country. Because for me, what we have as political parties in this country is nothing but Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. I don't know if you read that literature series. It's an Arabian Night. Many years ago we read Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Don't Google and read the story. So you don't have a political party. A political party ought to be people of similar vision, believing in the same principle, coming that look, the resources available is enough to do A, B, C, D. Now let's come together. Socialize the idea to the people. When the people come to our side, as is just done in Senegal,
Yes.
we take the political power and rearrange things. I don't want to bring the term ideology into it. No. A student of mine brought a paper to my office yesterday, and I told the person, look, you can't play with these words. Nigerians are scared when they see these words. I underline, I said, in place of it, put their value. people that share the same values and believe in it and stick to it. You don't win an election, you hold on to it. The late president of France, Francois Mitterrand, lost election 25 times and stood by it and stayed for that until when he got election, he socialized France's economy, which Macron is trying to upturn.
Yeah.
Obafemi will believe in the kind of socialism he did, and he stood by it and never deviated to join any other group. If I don't like you, I won't be your friend. There must be a reason why I want to be your friend. And so if the reason doesn't exist, it doesn't matter how close you are to me. No, sorry. Go away.
That brings my attention because in recent times we've looked at the body language and certain policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And in passing yesterday, I was mentioning the fact that his birthday colloquium for the fourth time is not going to be holding, and his birthday this year he's also stood activities down. And we're looking, we know that his identity and his personality is one that was grossly fought by most Nigerians in this election. But does he seem to be, presenting himself in such a way that we have more people embracing, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with some of the steps that he's taken? Because you're talking about, having an ideology and sticking to it. I'm wondering, Prof, is there a possibility that Tinubu in subsequent time is going to turn to the stone the builders rejected, becoming the chief cornerstone in the context of Nigeria's leadership?
If that comes to be, then we can all say amen. Let's amen to it. But I don't believe that. I don't. A leopard doesn't change his skin. Right here we have said, I guess you all, that there are a whole lot of things that we needed to put together to move forward. And that has to do with calling back Mr. President, former president, and the vice president who was going about speaking big grammar to us. Trader money when it was a few days to election. And then we were all running around on television station talking about how to teach people against vote buying. And that was a government taking money around the market few days to election, calling it trader money. On one of the occasions that I was called to that, I said there was no need to discuss the issue. Why would I be coming here and discussing the issue? And when he was in Kogi State and the helicopter was almost collapsing because of the load of the Naira taken from the central bank. I don't have time to waste on frivolous things. And I told the people that called me to this. So the answer to the question is this. Now, you can do some pretensions in politics to get the people to your side, but the real purpose for which you stand for stands. So when you say suspending his colloquium birthday celebration, and by the way, birthday of how many years?
Well, it's said to be his 72nd birthday, and he's saying he's standing it down in recognition of the life and
his first daughter is
time.
how many years old? And his daughter is how many years old?
It's a big question, but we know that these are the things that we see in Nigerian politics.
So when you put those arithmetic together, I call it arithmetic, not mathematics. When you put it together and you just find out that somebody's playing around with somebody, with another person, it's not me. So you stand it down, you don't stand it down, you celebrate it. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to change anything.
The state of the nation.
It's not going to. The problem of the nation must be tackled headlong. Every day, okay, what do you call them? Central bank, monetary policy. And I said, if you go to fix new interest rate to make the economy to go on the steady plane, there must be a clause that if all of us had engagement with the banks at 10% interest repayment rate, and you now make it 15%, there must be a clause that all the businesses that took loan from banks to run their organization at 10%, they cannot start paying the new interest rate. That's how economy is wrong. That's how Britain came out of the COVID-19. Many countries all the world that were held down by COVID. Those percentage debt you took will remain, so that the company like this will now be screwed up and start laying up staff to be able to meet the new interest rate. But our economy, our central bank currently, since they came in, every time they go, they adjust interest rate. You don't run the economy in increasing interest rate. You are screwing up and contracting the economy. You don't do that.
Really, really serious conversations we're having, especially where the finance and the economy of our nation is concerned. And we said earlier on the show trying to put the burden of the naira fall on the Binance platform is a huge distraction that does not actually
Absolutely.
suffice.
Absolutely.
It doesn't suffice. So you've raised a big question for the likes of Yemi Kadoso this morning. How much work is he willing to do to actually steer the economy back in the direction? Binance is a distraction that is not necessary at this time. I mean, we are releasing the NSA and all kinds of people to run a cat and mouse race that will not bring a solution. But we are pressed for time. We would really have loved to pick Dr. Frankenstein's mind on certain issues on the state of the nation, but we'll definitely have to bring him back. But a big, big thank you to you for coming this morning, Doctor,
Thank you
on
very
the
much
show.
for having me.
It's been a great ride this Tuesday morning, and like Doctor would always like to say, he doesn't like to talk about some issues that is just for conversation's sake. We hope that Nigeria and our leaders are paying attention to the narrative being constructed by platforms such as ours. It's been a good day of Rise and Shine. My name is Uyai Aneken, and until we return tomorrow, be a part of all of our programs.
And I am Francis Oyeminded.
My name is Sandra Agu. Thank you so much for watching.